Big things have small beginnings.
I'll be buying at the top forever. Bitcoin's an instrument of economic empowerment.
It's going to transcend any one currency and currency valuation.
And when I need to buy something, I'll use my digital currency directly without re-entering your system to which I was never invited, because I don't need you.
You don't need Bitcoin either.
Yes, you do, because it's the most secure. It's the only secure database that's ever been invented.
The last time I made an intro like that was this video from September 23rd when we were discussing the weekly RSI breakout. And this video has aged like fine wine, or this intro I should say, because you can see right here, we were talking about a breakout. We were sitting somewhere right here, and now the Bitcoin chart looks like this. Bitcoin has gone on an absolute tear, testing prices just under 100,000. Although on the Bitcoin CME futures, Bitcoin tested 100,170 just the other day. Now it's pretty clear that 100,000 is possible. And I'm saying that because just a month ago, if you asked people, is 100,000 possible or likely? A lot of people would have been skeptical, pessimistic. You know, if you guys remember how people were acting in this range, people had no hope for some reason, even though Bitcoin was sitting right near the all-time high. And now the market has shown that, yes, 100,000 is not only possible, it's likely coming very soon. Now, today, Bitcoin is trading at 97,500, and Bitcoin price is now heavily extended off of this parabolic trend line. In the last video on this channel, which was at about 94,000, we were talking about how Bitcoin reached the descending broadening wedge breakout target of 94,000, and that because of that, it's possible that we would see resistance pull back. Although, of course, as you know, Bitcoin did not want to pull back at that time. We continued up and nearly hit 100,000. Right now, Bitcoin is seeing a little bit of a pullback, 97,500. And of course, people are already, saying that the price is crashing, which is hilarious because, just a month ago, most people did not think that this was remotely possible. But here we are. In the last video on this channel, the reason why I was saying that there's a possibility for a correction is because if you look at Bitcoin's MACD, the bulls are losing momentum while we're hitting higher highs on price. So this red candle that we're seeing right now is not really much of a surprise. The question is, where is Bitcoin's price going to go from here? What is the consolidation going to look like if we do come down a little bit more? Well, I'm obviously still very bullish on Bitcoin, and my price target for the parabolic trend, not the cycle peak, the parabolic trend is 124,000. But before we get to that price, Bitcoin could consolidate here before getting a full run through 100K. As of right now, if Bitcoin were to pull back to, 92,500 or so, and then, form some sort of consolidation, a little bit of sideways action in this range, well, I would consider that to be very constructive, very bullish price action. There is absolutely nothing wrong with price action like this, right? That's still an uptrend. Bitcoin, higher lows still, right? And Bitcoin, if we pull back, has the opportunity to put in a higher low above 92,000 along a trend line. Something that we were talking about in the morning voice chats in my Patreon Discord is that you want to judge assets when they're on the downswing, right? Not just the upswing, because any coin or any asset can pump. But what does it look like when it's dumping? Are market participants letting go of their positions, or are they maintaining their positions? And so it would be nice to actually get a slight dip to get that reading on the market. Because right now, we don't really have much structure to look at. It's difficult to read the situation. There's a quote from Sir Isaac Newton, famous physicist and mathematician. Sir Isaac Newton actually lost a lot of money betting on the stock of a trading company way back in the day. He said, "I can calculate the motion of the heavenly bodies, but not the madness of people." And so even somebody as smart as Isaac Newton couldn't quite get it right with the market, ended up losing a ton of wealth by being too over exuberant on a certain position that he had. And so even if your analysis is sound, that might not be what the market thinks, and then your analysis goes out the window. Now, taking a look at Bitcoin's volume profile, we can see that the point of control is currently sitting at 90,600. And so if we were going to see a consolidation at this level up in this range, we would probably be bouncing somewhere above the point of control, which could be something like 92,000, 92,500 before getting the full break of 100K. Something like this would be really good for the altcoins. You may have noticed that the altcoins have been seeing big moves recently. If I go to CoinGecko and I pull up the top gainers of the past 7 days, Stellar Lumens XLM is up 143%. HBAR up 64%, Mantra up 50%, Polkadot up 48%, Algorand up 44%, Atom, Cardano, Tezos, VeChain, XRP, and Optimism, and others. So the altcoins are getting a lot of play in this range. And I do believe that this is the beginning of alt season. If we go to Bitcoin dominance, we can see that we have had a pretty substantial rejection, though it's not fully confirmed for alt season until we break this trend line. And just for those people that are, maybe new or don't understand this concept of Bitcoin dominance coming down is not bad for Bitcoin. All it means is that there's a lot of interest in crypto as a whole and other assets are going up. Bitcoin usually is also going up during alt season. So it's kind of like everything season. There's a little bit of a dance between the Bitcoin and the altcoins. 2017, right? And this is the Bitcoin chart coming up. And Bitcoin is going straight up through alt season. 2021, you can see Bitcoin is going up as dominance is peaking and dumping. And even when dominance is all the way down here, Bitcoin is hitting 65, dipping, bouncing back to 69, and it's still maintaining general bullishness while alt season is taking place. And so Bitcoin can do really well even if the altcoins are taking over the market. Bitcoin can continue to trend up through that time. Just want to make that very clear. And if you go to the total 3, the altcoin market cap, you'll notice that we are actually breaking this lower high zone. So if you look the past cycle peak over here, we have a lower high on the total 3, the altcoin market cap. And that lower high, we've actually broken it now on this weekly. We're breaking out. In the last cycle, right after the election, the setup was actually exactly the same. Lower high, peak of the cycle, lower high. We come up, we break it. It was a roughly like 160 weeks, 157 weeks from, all-time high to break of lower high. If you go to this cycle, all-time high to break of lower high, that was pretty much the same amount of weeks, and the setup is virtually the same. And so this means that for the next 6 months, the altcoins should be seeing tremendous upside. Some coins might pump more than you ever thought possible. It's usually how it goes in this market. Let me go back to Bitcoin here on the weekly and then pull up the Bitcoin to altcoin ratio indicator that I released on TradingView. Altcoin versus Bitcoin heat map, but a little bit of a map here to show when we're cooling off or when we're overheating. And whenever the total 3, the altcoin market cap, is equal to Bitcoin's market cap, that is usually near the top. It's not an exact top signal, but it's basically saying we're getting toppy, time to get out of some of your risky positions, right? And so the altcoin to Bitcoin heat map is showing that we're still really low. We're actually in the cool down zone. Kind of like when Bitcoin broke its all-time high in 2021 and we started to trend, this bottom on the altcoin Bitcoin ratio, that V bottom took place 3 or 4 weeks after Bitcoin broke 20,000. And we're currently on the 3rd week and we're getting what looks like kind of a V bottom. Similar, a little different, but similar nonetheless. V bottom here, V bottom here. 4 weeks up, 3 weeks up. It looks like the altcoins may have seen their low in terms of the ratio and a swift move up for the next 6 months to really, most of the gains are going to be made in the next 6 months. And of course, it'll go higher after that. but in terms of the majority of your gains in altcoins will be made in the next 6 months. And then a lot of latecomers will come in and pump the prices even higher to put in the top, right? Then that could happen after those 6 months. But majority of your gains happen from now until, let's just say May of next year. That's the majority. I'm not saying it can't go higher than that, the majority of your gains. So don't take it for granted. And once the total 3 has a market cap that is equal to Bitcoin, that is usually the top. That is what this is representing, a 1-to-1 ratio. So alt season has barely even started. Dominance has not collapsed yet. The total 3, the altcoin to Bitcoin ratio, has not even exited the cool down zone yet. So the opportunity is amazing for alts at this point in time. And that's really the main message here. Things are just starting to heat up for the altcoins. But keep in mind that Bitcoin could correct and form, create some sort of formation within the 90,000 range. We could be chopping here for a bit. But on every one of these bounces within the consolidation, each one of those bounces is like jet fuel for altcoins. And also, I just want to mention that we don't have to dip. Bitcoin, I suppose, could just continue up. Again, like Sir Isaac Newton said, I can't predict the madness of people. Are people just going to continue to flood into the market and pump the price above 100? Anything's possible. But for the altcoins, if Bitcoin came back, consolidated, that would be like jet fuel. That's when you start to see huge move in the alts. And then likely, if this type of a scenario plays out, we could be running, way above 100 going into the new year or something along those lines. The new year is generally pretty bullish for Bitcoin. And also I want to mention that if you aren't subscribed to TradingView, so you don't have any of the paid features, well, if you sign up for Kraken Pro using that link below, you can get some of the paid indicators like volume profile that we were looking at earlier, right? And so that's another incentive to sign up for Kraken. Use that link below. And if you guys want extra content, be sure to join the Patreon. There are limited slots and prices go up throughout the bull market because we like to limit the amount of people, but you can lock in these prices today for a lifetime. Every weekday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern time, we are doing morning voice chats discussing the markets, Bitcoin, altcoins, charts, trends, trades, all that kind of stuff. Join today to get some of the extra content that I produce. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you all in the next one.